So indeed, we are inflating our way into serfdom, people. Just looking on social media earlier, and plywood is now like $97 a sheet, if you can believe that nonsense. When just 2 or 3 months ago, it was $30, $40, which is high for plywood anyway. But now that we've got these wonderful stimulus packages going out and infrastructure packages that are just in the trillions of dollars, and we're printing money and borrowing money from China, we are inflating our way to serfdom, folks. It's going to be an interesting year for sure. Yeah, I know a guy that had a business where he was building houses, buying his land and building houses to sell. And I won't drop his name, but he's like, it was like $600,000 worth of a business he had going, just as far as, I guess, all the land he had and stuff that he would just buy a little bit here and there, and it was his way of working for himself. So now he's stuck with all that to pay taxes on, and really no way to operate as a business. So he's fixing to get screwed by the government, because they're not gonna demand their pound of flesh come tax time. That's for dang sure. And they're making the currency worth less, so it's going to be harder to pay it back. I mean, I think that in the next year, we are going to start seeing people losing everything they have. And I don't mean to try to be some kind of black pill, everything's falling apart, but I am trying to look at what's going on. I mean, we're having moratoriums on people being evicted from their homes, which in turn, it's nobody wants to see people out on the street, but in turn you're screwing the landlord, who still has to keep up maintenance on those places. And a lot of landlords are elderly people that may end up, actually, if they're making money on it, pay a local handyman to come and do a lot of the work on their houses for their tenants. Well, if you're not receiving rent money, you're not really able to pay the local handyman, and if you're not able to do it yourself, then you're going to be in violation of local codes, and you're going to have people who aren't paying you suing you for stuff that's happening on property that they're supposedly leasing from you, that the government's forcing you to continue to allow them to stay there as tenants without pay. That's a pretty screwed up situation, and that's going to be a lot of people. And eventually people are going to start running people out of their houses with force. You can't just demand a pound of flesh from everybody forever, federal government, but that seems to be what you intend to do after you've put everybody out of jobs, basically, and think that you can just tell people to keep giving more and more and more. So we are fixing to see how this goes down. We're in our second little eviction moratorium, and I don't think it's going to turn out for the better, that's for dang sure. So there's all that. Then there's the attack on the Second Amendment, Biden trying to do a bunch of executive orders, which a lot of people are going to tell him to get lost. This Dave Chipman, or whatever he is, the guy that was part of the Waco thing. You should look up Dave Chipman and the Waco situation, where they basically went down there and killed a bunch of people for no reason in the early 90s because they had, I don't care what kind of stupid cult it was anyway, if they're not hurting anybody or they're not bothering anybody, the government doesn't have any reason to be there. But they basically went there and killed a bunch of people. And I guess Dave Chipman was a part of that, and he's very anti-gun and wants to make semi-autos into NFA items to where you have to pay for it, which, yeah, we'll see who obeys that. That's going to go over like a fart in church, I promise. We are in interesting times, people. It is definitely some interesting times. The ammo shortage isn't going to let up either, because I don't think it's going to let up throughout the duration of this administration, for sure. So, get it when you can get it. that'll be a fixture of this administration, is an ammo shortage. Stuff's got way too high on that, and like I said, the currency is devaluing, so things are just going to keep going up. And everybody's kind of got this, oh, we've been locked down, I'm going to pay attention to the Kansas City Royals and golf now. I know a lot of dudes that I care about paying attention to golf and everything else, and meaningless garbage that's not going to ensure the future of their children. I'm gonna go buy a new golf club set. I had a golfing vacation. Yuck. I mean, these are guys I care about, and they've been warned about this stuff. They know they need to be prepared. And I guess I don't know what it is about. I'm a Christian, but I don't understand this deal about, in the Christian community, some people seem to think that preparedness is fear. When you can look in Proverbs and, it says that a prudent man, and I'm paraphrasing here, but a prudent man sees danger and avoids it, but a fool goes on to destruction, or something of sort like that. I'm sure you can actually even Google that and it's going to come close. They're basically, a fool's going to go on not paying attention and pay the price. So, there's nothing wrong with being prepared and prudent, that's for sure. But I don't see how people don't see this. I don't see how people aren't paying attention. They have to buy groceries every week. Surely they know it's getting tighter. Maybe they think it's just more than normal. They think Dippin' Dots is always going to be down the street, and it's looking like maybe it's not always going to be down the street. The government's going to take care of itself before it takes care of you. If you look up the continuity of government plans, they don't include wiping your rear end, okay? The government essentially is going to save itself at the cost of every American life. I think that's pretty well set in stone as far as if everything goes to crap. And we got people that, the country's falling to crap and they're not paying attention at all. Suddenly the Kansas City Royals and stupid football games and just really dumb crap is a priority in life for these guys. Not necessarily a priority, I guess, but I don't want to mischaracterize these guys, because I like these dudes. And they're gun owners, they're right-thinking people. But it's just that, it just isn't going to get that bad. Yeah, okay, buddy. Here's your warning. You see posts on Facebook and crap about this too. If you're not going to open your eyes to it, you're going to suffer for it, and your kids will suffer for it. Because whether, you reach out to a Christian brother for help, he can't float your whole family for a year. He can't float your whole family for a month, probably. He has to make sure his family eats too. So if you're going to reach out to people for Christian charity, which is a great thing, and there's charity to be had at my house too. But, where do you draw the line between your own kids eating and telling somebody to go figure something out? Things are going to get hard. And I just think it's going to be like a light being turned off. I think because people aren't hungry. People are still blowing money on stupid rims for their cars and sound systems and just dumb crap. And I think this economy is going to turn off like a light one of these days, because we've devalued our currency, and other countries are going to say, yeah, we don't like the dollar anymore. And as soon as they do that, either we're going to go to war with them. The last guy to not want to buy petro with the American dollar was Saddam Hussein. So you do the math on that. What happened to him? He got freaking toppled for an attack on this government, an attack on 9/11, with which he had nothing to do with. And we put him in power back in the day. So, wrap your head around that, and he decided he was gonna build wealth for his country. And, I'm not saying he was a great guy, because he wasn't, but, we just created a vacuum when we got rid of him. But that's a whole other issue. you're about to see how predatory the government can be, how predatory your neighbor can be, how predatory a business can be. And if you're not prepared to shore up for your family, you're making a huge mistake. That's all I'm saying.